So I would think if I go back 2 years ago or a little bit more, what I miss actually the most and what I wish the most for the future, it's that community spirit that developed between people from all over the place and to help people in a specific area, but still a large area. But that spirit of a community and all the people who got together, and some days we were 30, 40 people from all over just talking and finding solution, and things were going forward too. The solution was bring it back. If I put the pandemic aside, that spirit that, that we felt at that moment, I'd love to relive it and see it for the future. This is really the dreams of a community. When the pandemic starts and we start talking and we start doing things for all the people and then forget about who we were, what our own little need, and we gather it in all the whole community, it becomes such a spiritual things and so complete of things sometimes we need inside of us to understand. So this is that spirit I would like to see continue today. But I haven't seen it. I had hope at the beginning. I say, okay, now we're taking a break. The community, the world is taking a break. It has no choice. And exploring other things that we never explored before. And some of them did work. So in a way, I'm not sure to go back in normal, what it means, as much as maybe what we had before, what we call normal, can be modified and better, made better in a way that what we learn in those years of the pandemic, because there'll be other things. I mean, there's other things already. There's the war and all that. And when we talk about community where the leaders are there to do the work that the community needs to be done. The leader is not there to tell the community what to do. He's there to listen. And that's what happened with the ICC. We were all together. There was a circle. And it worked so well because everyone feel ownership as well. You know, when you make a common decision together, that's ownership. When you get told to do something, there's no ownership in there. There's no respect neither for the majority and all that. So there's so many things that I learned from that. And I missed, we spent at least 6 months every day together. I was looking forward, Saturday, Sunday. It was wonderful. And all the new people come in and we had a group that stays, and I'd love it to continue because there's so much other problem. It's not just the pandemic now. But that circle of powerful people, because they own the whole thing all together, was working together, and the world was connected, like the trees are connected by the roots and all that. They communicate. One tree has problem, the other one, I'll give you a bit more water. There you go, I'm helping, because we're all connected together. One dries, the other one might dries too. But if we help one another, we get to a better world. And that's what I wish for the future for my kids. I have strong belief that my boys and this generation and the generation after will make this so much better, and what they learn from that experience will sure help them a lot. Lots of souvenir, lots of good souvenir, lots of bad souvenir, but it's just what it is. You pull together, you see the division in people, or division or goal of different people. If it's community goal or if it's personal goal, all that, we have to forget ourselves when we work together, because it will benefit us anyway we want. So yeah, this is the future. The people I met, there's days I had tears of joy, tears of sadness for what they live and all that, but they were all together, always. There's no one, and the respect. And that's the main thing too, respect. We talked about, I don't know, in the 80s it was love and all that, peace, man, and all love. But I think the real word to use, it's respect. Because love will come with that and all the other things. Respecting one another, hey, you can only benefit from it. But I was privileged to be part of that group. I was very privileged, and I go in my spirit world thinking, wow, this was the experience. I always dream of see the color of people, their cultures and all that, and we saw all of it there, but blending together, and that was so neat.
Yeah, when you say the spirit, Harold Johnson.
Harold Johnson, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the first time I heard his voice, I just thought, oh, wow. I don't know, there was another dimension in those worlds. It was coming from such wisdom, but also so much confidence. It was just reassuring. Just the word didn't mean as much as the tone of the voice and the respect also and all that. It was the few times we saw Harold, it stays in me, and then, oh, they smoke. Every time I want to hear that voice. One day I heard it, I was traveling to Alberta, I heard it on the radio, and I knew it was him. And he was in an interview about his condition, health condition and all that. And I thought, oh, wow, what a grace. It is graceful.
Yeah, it's like that's the journey and the spirit that you felt and the community, and the effort that we made was to recognize that taking care of each other as a country bound by treaties between the Crown and the Indigenous nations, as Canadians, we wanted to help in a pandemic, pestilence and famine. You know, these are major words that affect humanity. But when in those times, the indigenous knowledge, the scientific knowledge that the World Health Organization was sharing, but just amongst ourselves, the caring, what you felt. And I guess as a Canadian, you know, on a foundation of treaties, we're here on Treaty 6. You know, we're celebrating Treaty 10 as part of this news gathering to tell these stories. As a Canadian, what do you see? What do you feel? How do you?
Well, proud in that way. I never thought of Canadian. I more thought of a group of people, and even to the level of Homo sapien. Because for me, I don't see color. I don't see fences. There's countries, yeah, and there's a purpose for them. But in my world, wherever I am, there's no border. There's no difference. There's Homo sapien. And each of them, how they develop over thousands of years, and their culture and their knowledge, it shows, and it's so beautiful to watch, you know. But yeah, there was, as a Canadian, I think we couldn't expect less of a Canadian. That was very Canadian, there's no doubt. But it could be even more.
Yes.
We can continue in that spirit of community and instead of politic. Hey, I heard here the famous word politic. And anyway, it's like advertisement, like air, for me. But the community spirit, if we could I think Canada was always been a country ready for that, in a sense. I always say I'm a French Canadian, and I'm not white, I'm French as well. And my color is different because shade, the nice color that you can see the origin of our people. But Homo sapien, that's more the level, I think, about it, how we connected all over the world, because we have borders, but during the pandemic or anything else, those are still open for people to travel around the world. So the connection, yeah, proud of being Canadian, proud of being part of Northwest Saskatchewan, and proud of have seen the progress. I've been in the North for 30 years, and the progress I've seen, and the people, the beauty, and the difficulty in getting it, and the pain and all that, no matter what, you have a goal, and that's just beautiful to watch. Thanks for letting me be watching it.
Yeah, I guess in documenting this year's skills as a photographer and documentation of history and stories, what advice would you give us as a Treaty 10 News to gather this? I guess, we'll start it at our age, but if younger people could pick up the storytelling, the video taking, technology is so leading edge right now. To broadcast a news story back in the day, you would have had to have been CBC, CTV with huge equipment. But today now, you have seen the evolution of this, and these are tools. So in terms of the young people listening to preserving language, I know you're in the school board to preserve language and culture as well. These are tools that can be used. So let's pick on your brain. Let's see what you got for us here.
Well, first thing, you're beautiful people. And that's the first things you have to tell yourself as well. At a level, more you grow, more you get over all the difficulty of what you were put in, more beautiful you are. In the last 30 years, as a photographer, as a filmmaker, whatever, visual, I've seen that beauty grow, and it's still, how would you say, glows. And it glows a lot more now when I see people together again, because you're getting over a lot of a pile of, we won't say what it is, but the beauty keep going. So make sure that history is there, the pain and all that the pain gets out, and show it. But don't forget, show the pain, show the beauty as well, because each pain will bring you something that you learn from it. There's always two sides to a coin, and if there's a bad side, we have to look at the other side too. What was built in the time something was destroyed? Did something got built? If not, let's build up, and let's show how you can build it up and show that beauty. So a nice mix of both, making sure that we don't forget, but making sure that we're going somewhere in beauty and in positive way.
The other thing we got to mention about your journey in life is those plants behind you. You found a partner that's got a gift, and but we learned through the pandemic that food security, and especially with the war now, you see the impacts globally. What message do you have people that can grow, that can provide food off the land? Let's talk about that.
Well, again, here for us, for me, it's always been a passion. I just watch something grow. In the spring, like now, it's just I'm so excited because all the flowers comes out. I spend hours in the morning, just go around and check. Okay, the apple is on, and things grow. It will feed me, yes. It feed me two ways: physically, what I need, but also spiritually, because it's very spiritual to watch them grow, watch them suffer, because sometimes you don't water them, you forget, and then whoops, they fold a little bit. They don't die, and you put more water, they goes in, a bit like us. but we put love in our heart and respect and all that. Yeah, it was wonderful. Sharon is a wonderful partner in all ways, but the gardening is something we do together. I always say I'm the muscle, she's the brain, but every marriage are like this, isn't it? Anyway, you got to accept his place. Don't argue. But it's the beauty of it, to see it grow. It's to have also, it helps also to always have a purpose. I think two things in my life that I thought was really important. One thing is my identity. Like I said earlier, I'm French. I'm not white. I'm also a French Canadian as well. But also, the other part is the growing of thing, the purpose of seeing. I have a goal. Sorry, I kind of lost my thought, but I have the second purpose. It's a goal. Where am I going? And a garden is a short goal, but it's one that you keep at it, and then you get used to it. So you develop a regularity, of doing things, and it applies to other things you do in your work and all that. And it's meditation, spirituality, and all that. So I'd say anyone who can grow, and everyone can grow. So you can grow things in a pot, in just a little pot like this, Put some soil in it. You can put it on your deck. Doesn't look good, but you can paint it or whatever, make a box. It doesn't take much room. But once you start growing something, you see how much that will fascinate you, because you want to see, oh, it went 2 inches today, and all that. And then in a month or two, it'll be red things on those things. Boy, where does it come from? It's just all that. It feeds you day to day on the short terms of motivation and goal, but in the same time, it helps you maybe reach other goals that you have in life that won't happen today. Healing is one of them. That's a nice tool to healing, because you go in the garden. Once they go in the garden, there's the weed that comes by. Tried to colonize. Oops, forget that one. But then you go take the weeds, and once you take them, they take another color again, because it's clean. So there's all kinds of things, therapy in it, as well as nourishing your soul and nourishing your body. Everyone can do it. It's simple. And look in the internet, or maybe on the radio station, you'll find a little video say, oh, this is how you grow a tomato. By the way, Ernestine on the 155.ca, Ernestine has a little video on how to plant potatoes. It's pretty cute to watch.
We celebrate the nurturing of the plants, but another passion in your world has been education. And education is one thing. There's schools is another thing. Education administration is another thing. But the actual education and preservation of language, culture, what do you see as the strengths or challenges that face our communities? We're all in this together, but education is a big responsibility that we all share. So maybe thoughts on that?
Lots of thoughts, but I think they're 10 years ahead of their time. Oh, I'm dreaming. The pandemic, taught us something. Pandemic made us do something in the way of educating our kids. And some of it works by Zoom and things like that, but also it made us try different things for different challenges. And I always say in the school system, if I can teach my kids taking ownership of what they will discover, what they will learn, my generation, we were taught this is how it, this is maths, this is religion, and that's how it works. You learn it by heart and all that, a kind of progress. But we're still teaching what we know to the kids instead of, maybe it's changing, but teaching how to find out what you need to know. Or teach them a way of working, creating some good habit. And we do, I suppose, with the curriculum. But I'm thinking of a different curriculum, because now, I mean, you got so much information available to everyone that giving ownership of learning something by themselves, it's so much more efficient, I think, than just dictate or give some matter, which is important too, I suppose. I'm just, in one way, old-fashioned, and would like to see it a different way. But as I'm talking about the kids, but you talk more about trustees at that level. Again, I'm still dreaming of a group, a trustee that form a board that would work together, that would communicate and really follow what's the rule, or follow what's the community need, instead of going by the rules and by the hierarchy. In some ways, a board, when everyone comes to the table, that you are 6, 10, 12, 20, they should forget themselves and then create a common goal, like the ICC did. You know, that was so strong for me. I saw it so clear and sharp. I'm always out of a circle as a photographer or film, so I can see the circle, not being inside. When I'm inside, I can notice, oh, that was wonderful, the ICC. This is what I'd love to see, that in a board where it's not dictated by politics, but dictated by the need of the people. And when you come at a table, you forget who you are, you forget your need, because you're there for someone else. The main thing, you're there for the kids. And we can't forget that. The kids, that's the future. That's your future too, because you get old like I am now. And then say, hey, I need some help, and then of understanding, you know. If they grow with you and they own things, you know, the root people, that's the dream.
As part of looking into the future as well, as you mentioned here, even just your practice of attempting to bring solar energy, but in our generation, we see climate change as a scientific base again. The politics, you know, same thing with the pandemic. Politics and science are struggling. But in your view, just on Mother Earth, I guess, let's put you down to that level. What can you say about Mother Earth?
Well, yes, we are abusing it. There is no doubt. And we've talked about the pandemic that got us together, but you know, how many million people died? 5, 6, 7 million maybe for the pandemic in 2 years from pollution alone. And it's something I read last night. 9 million people a year died from pollution. Oh, where are we? We also talk about pandemic, we talk about all kinds of things, but again, it's the interest of few people that change the world. It's people who leads and all that. When you think about the other night, if you watch the sky at sunset towards the west side, when the sun is gone, you will see 60 little lights, 60 of them, one beside the other one. It's like a train in the sky. those are the 60 satellites of Mr. I can't remember his name again, Elon Musk. And these are 60 of them that are just a part of what's coming in the sky. So I always thought, for the Earth, why are we trying to go somewhere else? Only few will make it. In my generation, none. In my kids, maybe few. What's the point? Why don't we fix our problem on Earth? Physical, the climate, yeah, and the people. Right? I have food every day here, but on the radio this morning, again in Africa, there's famine. People are starving. If we have billions of dollars to put garbage up in the space, it would be nice to take care of the Earth. But yeah, we have to take care. We're getting late. I mean, I've been thinking for it for 30 years or more. In the 80s, there were a crisis with petrol or gasoline, and the cars came small. Incidentally, for a few years, we had little cars, more efficient. Incidentally, look at what's on the road now. No wonder the price goes up. I mean, we all drive big machines and all that. I have a son in Montreal who bought an electric car. Hey, he's laughing every time the price of gas goes up. But in the same time, he thought of his future as well. I'm not sure if electric is the future. Again, there's things against it, but at least it's a movement. Yeah, we have something to do for the Earth. I mean, there's stories. The book I'm reading is all about that. Say, get people aware. Let's get the community built up, like that little girl in Europe who's so strong about it. It's so neat to see that generation and more coming out and say, but this is to get the politician online, but also we have to do it ourselves. I mean, how many of you recycle? How many of you bring compost? Everything goes in the garbage. But compost, we have 30 years of compost in the yard beside the garden. And that becomes soil so rich. The garden makes it nice. So, cycle. To go in a cycle where you respect the earth and what you're doing, and then you get it back to the earth, and it gives it back to you as well. World conscience has to be wake up at that. I was just thinking of QC, cultural quotient. Intelligence should be climate intelligence as well, meaning we have to be smart about it in that sense that everything we do, all the water we let running in a tap, even if it's 10 seconds, you put 10 seconds 2,000 times in a lifetime, you got enough water to feed someone else. It's first we start with ourselves, try to influence the surrounding, and the surrounding influence more and more and more. And we're all aware of it, and we kind of lots of denial. But the first thing, start yourself, go recycle and all that. There's all kinds of good things to do. And then influence the politics, the way they think and all that. But yeah, we have to, respect again is the word I come back with. And Earth needs respect because we wouldn't be here without it, without Mother Earth. And I like the word Mother Earth. I've been in different religion or some way passing through some religion, but never one that has the respect for Mother Earth as much as I learned with the Aboriginal and the Métis. Because my experience with you didn't start in the Northwest. I live in Alberta, in the Blood Indian Reserve. I come from south of the Obidjewin Reserve, northern Saskatchewan. Northern Quebec, sorry.
Yeah.
So for me, like I said, borders don't exist. Culture exists to look at their beauty and respect them as well and all that. So Earth deserves that, and we have to take care of it, and we can do it. But time is getting short. You know, plant trees if you can. It doesn't take much work planting a tree, maybe an hour the first time, then you water it and all that, and then in 2-3 years, which fly by like nothing, oh, you got something alive there that reminds you that you did something one day. You plant a seed and there's a result to it, and that applies for everything in your life as well.
Yeah, that's as you say, life, and then your life, as I've seen, witnessing your walk on this planet, it's a humble walk. I see you as a very humble, respectful, and in my teachings and learnings, a lot of these were in ceremony, practiced, from a humbling ceremony to a lodge. All these were embedded in our beliefs and spirit and in daily life. Just on the spirit sense and the practices and what you've learned. And as an elderly advice, as a practicing junior elder here, let's talk about spirit.
Well, it's interesting. I have to define spiritual. Important for me, spiritual doesn't mean any religion. Religion is man-made, a group. Spirituality is your soul, is your conscience. It's how you live every day. It's part of you. This is spirituality. Looking at the plant and say how beautiful you are. It's a spirituality for me because it's good for me. It feels good. And tell people how beautiful they are, or helping. It's a spirituality. But that difference with religion, I really discovered the first time I went to a sweat. Where the first time was Rufus could striker, and Rufus tell me, you come to a sweat, and then in there you suffer a little bit because it's hot, and so you give a bit of yourself while you asking for something, and I thought that's respect. If I go somewhere, I put myself on my knees and start praying, then I walk out. It wasn't too hard of a pain on my knees. My prayer, I asked for something, but I didn't give anything much back. Well, I learned that spirituality in the sweat where you give something of yourself. You ask for something, you give. You pick up a plant in the forest. Give something. If it's tobacco, or if you don't have a prayer or something, it's always that respect and that balance. You take something, always try to keep that middle balance. And that's my spirituality. Respect is spirituality, the soul, and conscience. Often you hear people say, how can a leader of the world goes in war? Where is his conscience? It's long time forgotten. So you always have, every minute of your life, there's a conscience in you. And that's my spirituality. When I do something by myself, it's okay if I bang a table or whatever. When I influence someone, there's my spirituality comes in and say, oh, wait a second, what's your conscience? What are you going to do? What are you going to say? How are you going to feel after you said something or you react to something? So I always try to react in turn things positive, because when things happen, they happened. You can't say if, it's gone. So in some senses, I always try to stay positive, but spirituality again, soul, conscience, respect.
Well, Yvan, been an honor,
Mm.
and thank you for your words. But the pandemic one, we can't thank you enough for giving your gift of the technological expertise you had with the 155.ca
Mm.
was a good tool to teach us at the time, but also a good reflection of what happened and what could be for our young people in the future. So that legacy, we thank you for taking the whole journey with us and not letting us go at any time.
Mm.
So we're with you, brother.
Thank you to be part of that.